Chapter 6, Triple-Sided Coin. Travis opens the door of the pawn shop in town and waves me in ahead of him. The bell on the door announces our arrival as it hits the glass. The dusty smell of the place triggers a bunch of memories, good times, together times, when Dad and Grandpa would take Travis and me out looking for coins. Numbers and money are something Travis and I can do well, so we took to it fast. Grandpa loved the dustiest stores best because they were the ones that would have uncracked rolls of coins in the back of their safes. When the store owners would trade the old rolls for new bills, we'd open them at home to see what was inside. Sometimes we'd find a buffalo nickel, a mercury dime, or an Indian head penny. It was like a little bit of Christmas. Being here makes me ache to go back in time. The man behind the counter doesn't say hello. He rolls a toothpick back and forth in his mouth with his tongue. In one way, it is completely impressive, and in another, the grossest thing I've ever seen. Travis rests his fingertips on the glass counter, looking down into the case filled with coins. You need something? The man doesn't talk the way Mom says you're supposed to talk to customers. I want to buy some coins, Travis says. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Travis brushes his chin with his knuckle. Something he does when he is nervous. The guy reaches up and takes the toothpick out of his mouth. He uses it to point at Travis. Do you have money, or are you all talk? Travis does what Dad said never to do. He shows him his money, and not money like a regular person, a roll of money wrapped in an elastic band. The guy's eyes widen. Then he asks, looking for something special? I want Liberty coins. You got any? He takes out several coins. One is a mercury dime with a head that looks like it has wings for ears. I remember those, I say, like the one Daddy has in his wallet. Travis turns them over in his hand. Nice. You have anything more unusual? The guy's eyebrows jump. He reaches into a drawer. This is unusual, but it'll cost you big. I don't mind paying for something special. Okay then, he says. This one is special. He puts a penny on the counter. Travis picks it up and his eyebrows bunch up. This is smaller than the other pennies. The guy nods. It is a rare find. Travis glances at me and then he turns toward the guy. How much? Well, the guy says, if you know anything about coins, you know that a coin with a flaw in it is far more valuable than a regular coin. Something isn't right with it, and it's worth more? Like I said, Travis says, how much? The guy tilts his head to the side. Well, normally I'd ask for 80, but I'll charge you, say, 75. Travis smiles. Even I remember how Dad used to tell us never to smile when you get a number. Never. Even if it's the best number in the world. And here he is smiling like he won the lottery. I try to look serious enough for the both of us. Well, that's really generous of you. $75 for a penny that's been dipped in nitric acid. The guy's smile falls off his face. I bet the police would be interested in a little bit of fraud. Now listen, Travis interrupts. Look, I wasn't born yesterday. Stop messing with me. Travis points at a coin in the case that has a walking woman wrapped in a sheet with the sun's rays behind her. It is beautiful. That 1933 Walking Liberty $50. How much for that one? Well, that one is in really fine condition. In fact, just tell me how much, Travis says, leaning in, palms on the glass. 45. 36. And you throw in the mercury dime for my little sister. I look up quick. For me? Then I do the math. Yep, he is following Dad's rule of offering 20% less than what they offer. But Travis threw in something extra. The guy squints. 40. Travis nods. Done. He slaps the money on the glass case. Outside the store, Travis holds the dime toward me. Oh, it's beautiful. I love it so much. Thank you, Travis. You're the best. He looks a little sad, staring at the coin. You know, Grandpa was born in 1933. That's why I chose these coins. They were both minted in that year. I look down at my mercury dime and its date, wishing people could last as long as coins. When we get into the car, Travis says, Did you see how that guy in there took me for a fool? Trying to rip me off. Remember, Allie, when people have low expectations of you, you can sometimes use it to your advantage. Then he looks me right in the eyes and points at my nose. As long as you don't have low expectations of yourself. You hear? I nod again, but I think to myself that it's hard not to these days. Chapter 7, No Grandpa's Here. I sit on my bed, holding my copy of Alice in Wonderland. The shaky writing in front of the book says, "For Allie, my wondrous girl, love Grandpa." The colors of the book are all bright, even though the book is old. Inside, the pages are soft and the writing is bigger than in books now. But I still can't read it by myself. It's like having a gift that's locked in a glass box. I'm feeling heavy, but I always do on Sunday nights. The thought of another week of school does that. It's like knowing I have to pull a tire through a keyhole the next day. But I'll have a new teacher. A Mr. Daniels. Sounds like a grandfatherly type with pockets full of lollipops, which could be nice. I'm hoping he'll spend a lot of time straightening his bow tie and telling us about the good old days and not giving us much work. But when I show up, I find that Mr. Daniels is no grandfather. He's younger than Mrs. Hall. He wears a dark jacket and a tie with colored circles on it. When I get closer, I realize they're planets. Most of the kids are gathered around him. I throw my stuff in the closet and walk over. He says, "My very excellent mother just served us nachos," and claims it is an easy way to memorize the planets in order from the sun. Albert, whose hair reminds me of a bird's nest, stands nearby. I feel bad for Pluto. I look over and my eyes are pulled to the bruises on his arms. Pluto was a planet all those years, and then someone just decided it wasn't anymore. Too small, too far away. Orbit, not just right. "I don't really think Pluto cares, Albert," I mumble. He sits in his chair and says, "Well, I do." I feel bad for him and want to ask him about the marks. He's big and chunky, but not fat, the kind of size where others would usually leave him alone. I pull out my chair and sit down. Okay, I tell myself, I'm going to do better. I'm going to work harder. That's all I need to do. I'm going to really concentrate this time, even though I know I've tried that and it doesn't work. Reading for me is like when I drop something and my fingers scramble to catch it. And just when I think I've got it, I don't. If trying to read helped, I'd be a genius. Mr. Daniels is in front of me. I hold my breath and lean back. He holds out his hand. "I'm Mr. Daniels. Nice to meet you," he says. Shay leans toward Jessica. I guess he doesn't know who he's talking to. As usual, most of her friends laugh. "Hey," Mr. Daniels says, turning to her. "That isn't cool. We don't do that in here," which wipes the smile off Shay's face. Then he turns back to me. "What's your name?" "Allie Nickerson," I answer, so softly that even I can barely hear myself. "Well, are you going to shake my hand, Allie Nickerson?" he asks. "I don't bite on Mondays." Great, just what I need, a funny guy for a teacher. I take his hand, but only for a second. My mind is already spinning off, wondering what terrible things Mrs. Silver has told him. The plans they've made for me. I see myself wrapped in rope and lying on the train tracks, just like in Grandpa's old black and white silent movies. "Okay, Fantasticos, take your seats," he calls. "Time to set the world on fire." Everyone scrambles to their seats, but I'm still lying on the imaginary train tracks, all tied up and watching the engine come around the corner.